and welcome to another episode of Schiffbauer Rocks, the only podcast where you have premium, very rare liquor. And I have my guest today, Corey Wolfe. Absolute pleasure.
Hello.
Corey's the executive director at Resource York. But before we get started, tell me more about this little gift you got here.
So, as Paul and I talked about the things we were to discuss today, I mentioned about not having a lot of money, and I just so happened to see when I was in the liquor store this very rare scotch, and I thought that is a great balance of finding something so rare that they hide on the bottom shelf. So I decided to purchase it. So
We're definitely going to crack that open at some point. I got to at least take a little nipper of it while on air.
Into it.
But hey, bottom shelf liquor on a budget or not, some of it's actually not bad.
Nope, would never say that at all. Or I would say that all the time.
I mean, some is
either or.
But Emerald Nelson, comparable rum.
Yeah,
it's not Captain Morgan, but hey,
it'll do the job. So,
yeah. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. I said we've known each other for a couple of years, on and off. Mm-hmm. So I've met you in a past life when you worked in the restaurant industry.
Yes, just 3 short years ago.
Yeah, time flies.
Restaurant at Mudhook Brewing Company. I was serving beers and food, and now I serve people in a different way in the community.
Let's talk more about that. How you kind of went from there to where you are now as an executive director.
Yeah, ice cube. It just burst at me.
We got
interesting.
We got to check the waivers here.
Yeah. No, it's been a crazy last 3 years where I really care about the community, and I was grateful to work for such a community organization such as Mudhook Brewing Company. They were the first brewery that came about in York City, and then, as we know, many more came along in time. But forming those relationships with the other breweries and learning about other small businesses in York City, which, I mean, it's connected to the restaurant scene, it's connected to the merchant scene, and basically the downtown scene, helped me meet a lot of people, meet a lot of customers who worked a lot of places, learn a lot about all the people and what they're doing in York. And that, I mean, at the end of the day, I liked helping people, but wanting to work in the nonprofit field was still what I wanted to do. So from there, found a job that suited me at United Way of York County, loved it for about 2 years, and I still wanted to combine in a different way working boots on the ground like I was serving, but still serving the public and not just getting them drunk. So kind of combining those two things, Resource York came about.
For the greater good.
For the greater good, yeah. No, I mean, everyone needs a drink at the end of the day, but being able to give back financially to the community and being able to support an organization whose main goal is to help the community is so wonderful what I get to do at Resource York. I mean, if I get frustrated with being on the computer all day, meeting with people, all of that, I go out and actually do the labor. I do the work, and it's a balance between boots on the ground and the administrative side of helping people and helping the community, and I can't be more grateful than I am for this opportunity now.
Cool. I mean, tell more about Resource York from like a nonprofit organizational standpoint for those out there.
Yeah, so we have been around for almost 20 years, and we basically take in donations of items, whether they are building materials, home improvement products, home furnishings, home goods, the gamut of home things, project things, art things. We take those in as donations, and then we sell them at a drastically discounted price, which makes it accessible to so many more people. One of the things that I went into my job interview with was that not only Resource York, but Life Path and Salvation Army, Community Aid, my apartment is furnished solely based on those items, and also a couch that I found in Cherry Lane one day.
Practicing what you preach.
5 years running, that couch is wonderful. But to be able to have the things that I have because of those organizations means so much to me, and I understand how much it means to other people as well. So we take in those items, sell them for such a low cost that it makes people who own a home, rent an apartment, who have the accessibility to create a home in their vision, paint the walls the way that they want, have the couch that they want to have, All of those things, so much more accessible. And through our revenues, which we solely support our entire operations from our revenues. We don't take any government funding at this point. We give back to Bell Socialization Services, which supports people with intellectual disabilities, mental health issues, experiencing homelessness. And not only do we support them financially, we employ their program members. So people who are experiencing homelessness or are not able to be in the job force right now but want to be, there's programs through Bell where they learn those skills to be in the job force. And a way of doing that is to employ them at Bell and employ them at Resource York. So we take in their members to teach them how to be in the job force, how to hold a job, the requirements of a job, the responsibilities, and all things like that. So it's kind of, over all of it, we keep stuff out of landfills too. So we do a lot of stuff with what we do, helping people in many different ways and helping the environment and the community. And I mean, I'm always a multi-pronged person, and I love every single thing that we do and want to just really hone in on those pieces and do the best that we can with all of that.
No, it really sounds like more than just furniture. It's a total preservation and conservation of the community from top to bottom.
Yeah,
In terms of your partnerships and kind of, strategic alliances, if you will.
Yeah, there's so many different opportunities that I have seen in my time. I've only been there for about 9 months now, and about 3 of those months have been shut down due to COVID, unfortunately. I'm not bitter at all. But I mean, in my first month and a half, we had to shut down all operations due to COVID, had to lay off all of our staff due to COVID. And at that point, I'm just like, what do we do? How do we take in revenue? We support ourselves through the revenues of our sales. What do we do? And seeing what Tony Calderon does, and she's just right away innovating, thinking of all these new things.
Disruptive and is pivoting at a dime, because even if you don't want to pivot, you have to.
Yeah,
in that regard.
I mean, I was so new to it that I didn't know enough about our organization to say, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do right now. This will get us this revenue, this, and this. I'm seeing that I'm thinking that way now that I know a lot more about what we do. But honestly, in those first 4 weeks, I was just like, I have no clue.
It was like unintentionally you got thrown to the wolves, in essence.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a best case scenario because from here it's just like a breeze.
Just like how you
everything's easy.
kind of apply those lessons and if there's a next crisis, quote unquote, it's just like, what did I do then and how can we adapt now with this in front of us?
No, honestly, with how scrappy we are, I'm the entire administration. I have a very supportive board and board committees that help with our administration, finance, marketing, all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm the day-to-day marketing, finance, HR person, and the things I've experienced in the first 9 months have been incredibly life-changing with what I've had to understand and deal with, that I thought I knew what I was doing. When I was at Mudhook, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing with marketing and HR. I created a handbook for the staff. And then coming into an organization that's been around for almost 20 years that has a handbook, but saying, well, this handbook isn't working in this way or this way, what's the best way to change it with board input, with staff input, with all of this? It's a whole different game or ball field or whatever sports people say. I'm not a sports person, but it was a huge learning curve, and I'm incredibly happy to deal with so many things so quickly to now just everything's a breeze. Cadillac drive down the road.
There you go.
So,
I can't beat that. I'll drink to that. I mean, seeing where you are now in your career, I mean, you're young, you're in your 20s. I mean, when you first got your first job, you ever think you'd be in this position helping people and being this involved in the community that you are? No,
not at all. At all. My first real job I would consider, because I've worked many farm jobs down in Airville. Shout out Airville. No one's watching because
shout out. Maybe
Airville
2 or 3
doesn't have
out
internet
there.
yet.
Oh, they don't?
Just kidding, they do. I swear that's no. They'll get it.
You got to get the fiber optics down there.
Yes. But I worked at the Collinsville Drive-In. It's a Stalworth, I want to say. I've been thinking about the term Stalworth, which I think is kind of like a concrete place that everyone knows about, whatever. Okay. It doesn't matter. But it is the place people have been going in Brogue since 1961.
It's a staple.
It's a staple, yeah, or a stalwart, they might say. I don't know
I
if they
like
say
it.
that. I don't know. But Connsville Drive-In's been around since 1961. People call it Joe's. People call it the Drive-In. People call it just Collinsville. That was my first job. And working there for so long, I had never wanted to own a business ever. And I was just like, they put in so many hours. There's so much to deal with, all of that. But I noticed myself doing the things that say, Linda, if we did it this way, like we could make more revenue, or we could have more people come in, or we could treat the staff better, all this. I was doing the things that a business owner would do.
Being entrepreneurial in that essence,
yeah,
as an employee.
Yeah, and at the same time saying, I would never want to own a business, but like thinking at the higher level. So my whole life, I didn't want to own a business. And I would say it was Mudhook that really, in my path of, I've worked probably 4 in-depth jobs before Mudhook, which was my lowest level job that I would ever say. I mean, people consider servers low level, but I started as a server at Mudhook, and it wasn't until Mudhook and Jeff Lau that really made me think that, like, I have ideas. I have things that I need to implement. These are good ideas. These can help people. And from there, being in York City from Airville, which Airville is a very close community, but being in a city where people are even closer locational wise and dealing with the same problems, because no matter what income level you are, you're right next to the person that needs so many more things than you. It really puts things into a different perspective to say, well, what can I do? How can what I'm doing as a server affect someone that doesn't have healthcare or food or this or that? So it's just thinking about so many more things on a rapid basis than ever. And it kind of evolved from there of, what can I do for the community? What can I do for businesses? How can I get to doing ideas I want and businesses that I want? And definitely am not there yet, but I get to have a part in the leadership of a nonprofit that I get that position in some form, that I do have the day-to-day operational choices, but I also have a board to fall back on, and they are my manager in a way. So it's preparing me for the porta potty business I want.
Tell more about that shit.
Just kidding. But also, this Labor Day weekend, I work every single day. Okay, this is what I want my board to listen right now. You all are watching.
Great.
Just kidding. But no, it's basically the idea of any business that makes sense, and you can all. I think whenever I write a book, which I can't write, I physically can't write. But
I know a writer who
when
might
verbalize
ghostwrite it.
Yeah, no, I love that. But like, if you can think of any idea with 3 prongs of benefit, not just you financially, but the community as a whole, and a third party in some way, whether it's the community and another demographic or this or that or the other thing, as long as you can think of 3 different benefits besides just you, that idea will always work. And for me, some of the things we talked about was discussing not having a lot of money, collaboration, all of these things to make things happen. Mm-hmm. And I have been put in a hole. I put myself in a hole that I'm never going to bring an idea to someone unless it has those 3 prongs. Because if it can't reimburse itself, if it can't benefit the community as a whole and at large, and it can't do something else, then it's not an idea worth pursuing for me, with everyone's time being so limited. So, I mean, a porta potty idea with how many events that we hold in the city, how many people need porta potties, how Resource York can be involved, or how blah, 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 this or that. Anything can happen. Any idea is possible if you think of it in a way of, how can we benefit 3 parties at the same time?
I tell people, just working with small businesses, primarily what I do, it's people really don't care about if you're selling weed killer. They want to know, how can you help me with my crabgrass? You know, what's your value prop and how you can help me and potentially help my customers and the community I serve, wherever that might be, just a collection of customers or, an actual community in that regard.
Yeah, and that's, I'm very lucky to have fallen into United Way. Shout out Nicole Schaefer, which I hope she watches this. I mean, I'm always doing this hashtag thing,
Throw
which
it
I
out
don't
there.
know what that means. I just kids.
Hashtag this,
I guess
hashtag
kids
that.
do it these days.
I mean, I
but
don't really get it at this point.
I got
I'm
to,
in
yeah,
marketing.
no. I got to, I got to work
Bad joke.
in a huge, a stalwart of a nonprofit. Once again, I hope that's a word that people use.
That's going to be in the title of the episode.
But a nonprofit that's nationwide, international, that by doing this one thing, you're benefiting, in York's scenario, 35 different places. And for me, it's just like that one investment doing so many different things, your one time investment doing so many different things. As an ADHD-minded person, I'm always looking for those things that one thing equals this much.
Yeah, what's the most optimal?
Yeah, no, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's bang for your buck. Honestly, and when it comes to bang for your buck, if you don't have a buck, it's your sweat equity. So
Yeah,
bang for your sweat equity. And for me, like, I will continue to do that. I did a video on Facebook of me just washing windows in the winter. I fucking loved it. I mean, I love doing actual labor. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm actually giving back. So being able to wash a window while putting it on Facebook and letting other people know, one, you can do this too. Two, I'm a member of the community who is frustrated with empty buildings that are dirty. So if you're pissed off about it, do something about it. Three, look at this building. It's empty. You could maybe buy it if you had the money for it. I mean, you can envision whatever business you want.
If you're about revitalizing downtown, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different pieces of washing a window that you can ripple out to the community. And I washed a window. I mean, it was a lot of windows. I washed windows for an hour and a half, and the benefits that came from, or I believed came from that, makes me so happy to think that maybe one day that building will be filled. And I mean, I hope Tony Calderon's watching this because she is interested in the AAA building.
There you go.
Buy that building and let me do whatever I want with it, or let me live in it. I don't care. Love that building.
It's always interesting when coming up with a strategy, kind of like you said, like how can we have like multiple benefits of this one particular action or these one particular set of actions. So get this message out, but we're also getting this message out. We're reaching this audience, but we're also talking to this fellow over here.
Yeah. I mean, as much as social media is the devil, which this is hosted on social media also.
The devil.
Yeah. I love turning into the microphone. Makes me feel like I'm on NPR, which dream of mine. I was on the Diane Rehm show before she retired.
Really?
God bless. Yeah. I talked about
That's a fun fact.
student loans and all that stuff.
Student loans are the devil.
Oof. Yeah. Especially when you didn't get your degree and you're still paying on them.
It's okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do what you got to do. Teach your own. But social media is such a great opportunity to show those things you're doing. Like, people wash windows every single day of their life, but now that we have the opportunity to show people that I'm washing a window, one, if you have a business, you're now showing people that you have a business and you can share this and you can do this and that to get new clients to wash their windows. If you're trying to move forward the idea of we should do more for our community, like what I'm doing is, I mean, I'm posting a video of it. So you do it too. Otherwise, you're not doing shit, or do it in a more visible way so other people know what you're doing and they replicate it.
Well, I haven't seen the video per se, but I can imagine the perspective.
You should watch it.
And we may have to throw it in post-production here. But it's just, I'm sure many followers, once they clicked on that video, saw that pop up in your news, would be like, what the fuck is Corey doing? And it seems something like atypical, but then you have that message behind it.
Yeah, no,
and you get their attention.
And it's getting people's attention in weird ways. Maybe one person my whole life have told me I am weird. Just kidding, not one, but countless, especially growing up in Airville. But doing weird things that benefit people are the best things, because you wouldn't even realize that. When I had an idea with the George Street dining area, which is a great great spot for people who are coming in and out. It's a great opportunity for small businesses that are currently really, struggling hard. And Resource York, we take in donations, and we got these beautiful ornate trash cans. Like they're ceramic and they're all that stuff. My idea was to ask Mandy Arnold, we would paint these trash cans whatever you want if we could have them displayed with Resource York logo on them.
Let's put the signage there.
And the sweat equity behind it is, well, one, we'll paint them, but two, I'm fine with dumping the trash every night, taking them to and from every single day. That's a lot of work for every Friday and Saturday. But at the same time, if you think about the impact that you have.
Plus hundreds of people are seeing it and being introduced to your organization
Exactly.
every night.
Yeah, and so things like that is weird. Like thinking a trash can could make you have more revenue come through or more business or more reach outs or this or that. Anything can spur that engagement. And people always need to be thinking in any kind of way. Like, it's trash. Trash can make so much happen. I did a whole masquerade ball last year in October that was focused around trash. We made all the decorations from trash, all the masks.
When I think of that, I just
trash.
immediately thought of Zoolander when Will Ferrell's character was just like, I'm going to name my fashion line Dare Leak. And it's just people dressed up in trash and logos. But
no, it's...
I digress.
Well, now I'm at an organization who is based in resourcefulness and recycling. And I'm like, well, we need to have a signature event to fundraise. And my event, which we played around with some names. The original name was the Trash Ball because perfect. But that sounds trashy.
Trashy.
But then we settled on Recyclable, which is also okay. It's not as good as Trash Ball, but
it's cheeky, and then it has the recycle right in it.
Yes. What do we do at Resource? What could we make our signature event? A masquerade, a ball, a formal, where people feel fancy. Like everyone deserves to feel fancy in this whole city, and that's the biggest reason. Yeah, this idea came 2 years before I ever worked at Resource York.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah. Oh my God. For years I wanted to go to the downtown masquerade ball. Tickets were $100, $125. Could not afford that. 44,000 people in the city can't afford that either. And what are we doing to have them have the fancy masquerade feeling
experience?
Yeah, exactly. How can we do that? And for me, it's like, well, we make everything, the event, super low cost, so we can make the tickets $5 or $10. And I did that last October by myself, which you can't work alone, but in initial ideas that I want people to put their own time into, I do it myself. And we had an event where we had alcohol, we had food, we had a DJ, we had decorations and people dressed up, and the ticket was $10. And for parties that I have in my house, parties that were like the Recyclable Ball, when you pay for your drink, instead of paying for a drink, it's donation-based only, and we had 4 jars, 4 different nonprofits. When you go for a drink, put your dollar, you put your $5, your $10 in a nonprofit's jar. So now, from this event, we're not only benefiting ourselves from the ticket price, but alcohol that is extra beyond the ticket price is donation only to other nonprofits. And it's just like creating such a ripple that, in the last 2 years, I would say from my own events, that I've done just ramshackle, thrown together this or that, we've been able to donate probably over $3,000.
That's awesome.
From not me, others coming to my events. It's a small idea, but it takes the community to come out to be able to make that money, to be able to donate. And I'm so grateful that I can facilitate that in any way.
And that's where it adds up too, when you said the $3,000 mark, having these small scale events where at times, and it's just, that person who might only be donating $5, $10, $15 in an evening, that's how it snowballs and where you're having really impact.
Yeah. So here's a shout out for my 30th birthday party, which will be in February.
Hey, there you go.
The biggest party that, COVID aside, whatever happens, all the stuff. But
hopefully everything clears up by
Yeah,
then and
well-
people are healthy.
yes, whatever format my party's going to be, I've already decided that I want people to donate in that same way. Like, I want my party to spur investment in other nonprofits. And I've always done I think I've done 3 parties where people have invested in nonprofits that we selected as a collective. It wasn't like, I want this nonprofit, this one, this one, this one, whatever. I'm not doing that for those parties, but for mine, I want to say my favorite 4 nonprofits are going to be the beneficiaries of those dollars. So like, that's
absolutely.
exciting for me.
Yeah,
But
you can have you're taking. I mean, it really sounds like too as a professional, Corey. Your professional life, it is an extension of your personal life and your core values. So I mean, hey, you're tying that right in further.
yeah, no, I love it, and I love being able to another constant shout outs, and it's not it's more plugging, but
Plug away.
well, then I'll ask you right on air, because we're on air on live television on NBC Live right now.
Yes.
But we walk a mile in her shoes, which is a yearly event.
Saw the billboard.
Okay, well, that's a yearly event to raise money for the YWCA. I live 2 doors down from the YWCA through United Way. I got to learn so much about their programming and everything they do for the community. And this program raises funds for that event. And men it's an event for men because they walk in high heels for a mile to kind of just go through the struggles, which the struggles are so much more than that. But they raise money through, I'm going to walk in a mile. How much money do you want to give me? We raise money through that way. So I'm opening up to anyone in the community, especially you, Paul, and show up.
Okay. When's the event?
So
that way I can potentially release this prior to the event.
We it starts at the Agricultural and Industrial Museum at different times this year because of COVID.
Understandable.
But there are different teams and there's goals, and teams who win get certain things, which is not a competition, but it is a competition.
It's competition for the greater good.
So last year was my first year participating, and I absolutely loved it. This year I was like, well, I work at Resource York, so team's called Resource Rock Stars.
Okay.
Because rock stars are people who, do a lot of great things, cocaine, make music.
Cocaine's a
all
hell
that
drug.
stuff. Cocaine. But never done cocaine.
No,
I don't know why I'm talking about it. But
I was Rick James.
yeah, no, of course. God bless. He's dead, right?
Yeah, he's R.I.P.
Rip.
Probably too much cocaine.
Yes, but anyone, in the true sense of Resource York, we are a patchwork of the community. So anyone who doesn't have a team, we want to introduce to our team. We want to have them walk with us. So anyone who wants to join the Resource Rockstars, we're going to win against all the regular stalwart teams of 3 times the charm, which means you got to drink for it.
Hey, I'm going to crack open some of this sponsored very rare liqueur we have right here.
I'm ready for it. But anyone who wants to join the Resource Rockstars Walk a Mile team, it's so much fun raising funds for such a great opportunity. When you're at the Agricultural and Industrial Museum, you get to drink a little bit, then you get to walk around
Always
the community.
a plus.
And then people see you walking heels, and it's, well.
I'll do it for a good cause.
Yeah. So I'll send the link.
Let me know, and then, depending on how everything lines up, schedule this and release beforehand, get a little push.
Yes.
The beauty of producing your own podcast, you can release these
Beauty
really
of
wherever
holding
the hell you
people
want.
to things on live video. Is this live?
It's on the
Not
record.
live?
No,
Yeah,
not
whatever.
live yet.
Okay,
I do
that's
want to
fine.
do a live stream at some point.
Yeah.
And I'll extend the invitation. I've had this idea for over a year now. So a good friend of mine gave it, and we can do it here now at Sort of Studios. Shout out to Jesse, Nigel, and
Beautiful.
crew. But a Schiffbauer of Iraq's Power Hour, where we have a host and like 4 to 5 previous guests, and we just ask different questions and get their views on them.
Panel of sorts.
Yes, and just get different perspectives. So professionals in different backgrounds, and it would be a gambit.
Yeah, I love panels. I am a panel. I've been on a panel before, so if you're looking for people who have experience, I'm in that.
I'm about to
realm.
say, tee it up.
But at the same time, let's cheers to that.
Cheers
because
this.
I'm not so sure.
It smells like
It smells
Braveheart.
like liquid. Ooh, definitely is liquid.
That would put hair on your chest. So any men who are
Yep.
struggling in their early 20s?
Or
inverse.
women who want hair on their chest.
Correct.
It's all up to you. Teach your own.
Yes, it's
Aesthetics.
to each his own.
Aesthetics. Oh, God, I love hearing the feedback on that.
The mic's really good.
Yeah. No, I feel like I'm on NPR. Like I've always wanted to.
In terms of, I like NPR. I haven't listened to NPR in a while.
Ugh, every day for me.
I used to. I was on a kick for a while, but now it's life. But let's talk about, a lot of people, you come from the service industry working at Mudhook. I have some experience. I grew up in a bar, bartended, bar back, the whole nine.
Curbside.
Curb shop.
Curb shop.
R.I.P. COVID
Rip.
killed them. And for some other reasons, but they're nice people.
Rip.
Rip, rip. That being said, you meet a lot of people and networking naturally with a lot of people, especially in your position and your previous position at United Way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you go about networking and just meeting new people, or you just hear someone, or you just know of somebody, you're like, damn, like, I just want to have a conversation with them. Not even I don't want anything from them. I just want to have a conversation and learn from them.
So the biggest thing that I'm excited to be here for is sharing that. Put that cap on because I feel like aesthetically it looks.
It's more pleasing.
Yeah, no. But networking is, I hate networking. Biggest thing, hate it.
So, fun fact, and people might not believe this, I'm more of an introvert, but I have a switch.
I say the same thing.
I sometimes I can turn it on and off, but I get burnt out.
Everything is a spectrum, and people excel in certain situations where they are the worst in others. And people, like, I worked for United Way, and my job was to speak to hundreds and, I mean, literally, in some senses, thousands of people about United Way and be comfortable doing it. And I loved doing it, and I was comfortable doing it. But in other senses, when I go to York Young Professionals or I go to this networking event at the Economic Alliance or that, I joke that, oh, well, I'm here for the free food and drink. But like, honestly, I'm super nervous and don't want to talk to anyone because I feel like such a loser and this and that.
I get moody.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it. Sometimes it's like I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I had this event, I kind of
Exactly.
queued up, and it's like, now I got to go.
Yeah.
Nothing against these events. Some of them are awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a hard thing to, I do not excel in the public sense of things, but like I do notice when I'm out in all of those things because I love to be in those networking scenes.
Oh, you and I both.
But I won't talk to anyone.
It's just like you're there.
I'll drink
There's
my
Corey.
drink, be there. I'll just watch from a.
And people know, hey, it's Corey.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'll sit in the corner and be like, I generally think, oh, they're watching me, watching them, and they just know me from that. But overall, if I find them interesting enough, which sounds kind of weird or whatever, but like, I will reach out to those people to have a separate meeting because that's where I excel. That's where I want to know about you. I want to know about your way of being. Therefore, we can have a good conversation. I can know about you because networking is, hi, what do you do? And that's
you
it.
try the finger food. It's 5-10 minutes.
No, I want to know
superficial,
about
most
where
time-
you
9
came
out of 10.
from, where you are now, why you are where you are, why you got into where you are, and what your fucking is. And that is not a networking social thing. It's a one-on-one thing. For me, some people are so good that they can fucking...
The chameleon.
whatever.
I can do that at times. Other times, it just...
Yeah. Depends on how many drinks, all that, whatever.
Well, my go-to spot's the bar.
Yeah, but for me, like, I love meeting people, and I love finding those people that I hear a lot about, and I notice a lot, and I get to discuss with them those things. And I mean, in the last 3 years, I've met with, I can't even count how many people I've met with, but I've learned so much about what York has done, what people have done, what we shouldn't do again, what people have tried to do again, all of these things that really have just pushed me so much further so quickly by saying, like, I have this idea, should I just do it, or should I talk to people who have been around or have done those ideas first? For me, always learn about the history first, because if the idea has been done before and hasn't worked out, maybe you should find out why it hasn't worked.
Yeah, and reverse engineer it and see what's going on.
No, if you don't open up yourself to the community and finding out what worked or didn't, then you're just going to set yourself up for failure. I mean, in my opinion, everyone each their own. But I've learned so much and I've gotten to do so many great things by being cautious. And also at the same time, you think about people who move really fast at what they do. And sometimes that's the best way to do it in a sense of like COVID. You need to work really quickly to be innovative and all that. And I don't know if I will be the quickest thinking person, but I know that long term, the ideas that I have with getting the background information that I do has always worked out. So it's always a good way to go. And I don't know, I reel that back in because we were talking about like networking or something.
No, that's great. I mean, I know myself personally, I've gone to a lot of young professional events, various organizations. But 2 years ago, I really made a focus on joining networking groups where primarily everyone was 15 to 20 years older than me. Like, I literally did that intentionally.
15 to 20 years old, and I was like, shit,
Oh, no.
that's
No, yeah,
older
ugh.
than you. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so it was just like, at first it was like, for them, kind of odd. It's just like, like I was the commonality, business owners, entrepreneurs. But just like, this is different, you know?
Yeah.
For me and then them, it's just like, this could be my son or this could be like my little nephew.
Yeah.
But it's great. It was great being around in those environments. And I'm still in some share groups like that today that I interact with from the standpoint where it's, you get to learn what people do really well and to kind of cut that curve. Mm-hmm. And it's overall, it's just like I've found a great mentor through that process inadvertently. Didn't even intentionally, set out to do that. But
yeah,
over time, it's just putting yourself in like different situations so you can, I don't know, essentially grow all in all. So
never set out to look for a mentor. That's something I've learned.
Never.
I've always wanted a mentor so
Nope,
bad.
no.
Age 22 on, I was like, I need a mentor. The term mentor means so much, and this and
it
that.
finds you in essence.
Exactly. So yeah, and finding those people and meeting those people, something will fall into place. And I will tell you that JJ Sheffer, shout out, #shout out, whatever that means. Yeah.
Viral.
She's someone who we've met, pre-COVID, every single month to talk about what I'm doing. And every single person I've met has a different dynamic of mentorship that...
Like an aspect that you kind of pull from.
Yeah, and some people just say they send an email every month, or they have a meeting every quarter, or they do this or they do that. But at the same time, it's not just a benefit for you learning about them, because it's so important to learn about people who are more successful than you. Because if you want to be there, you got to learn about what other people are doing, whether it's them or someone else or multiple people at the same time. But learning how they do that, because those people who are really successful also have very busy lives. Learning about the way to get in contact with them and keep contact is the most important thing.
Keep top of mind.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone who is the most, I don't know who the most successful person in New York is, but if you would say that if you were their mentor, what's the best way to get in contact with that person? Because surely they're the busiest person in New York at the same time. So what's the best way to learn from them? Can you only meet once a quarter? Can you only meet once a year? Can you only do this or that? But like adhering to what people's schedules are and figuring that thing out and finding the way that works for them and works for you is the hardest thing, but also the most beneficial thing, because obviously you want to hold on to those successful people that you want to be like, and you want to emulate and find out how you can learn more from them, how you can continue those conversations. And that's the hard thing, but also the most beneficial thing.
Absolutely. How would you measure success personally? That's a loaded question. Success is different for everybody.
I took a class at Penn State York with Dr. Judith Higgins. Shout out Dr. Judith Higgins. She asked that question.
Okay.
How do you measure success? What is success? All of that. And I don't know if I know what success is at this point. I think it is a lot based around how many people I can help have better lives, have happier lives. And up until now, I've not been able to do that much. But now, being in the role that I am, I get to, in a way, control benefits and how people's day-to-day, where people live most of their lives at their job. And how can I control that to make it the most beneficial that they've ever had? Like, my staff have been paid lower than they deserve and haven't had any benefits. And what can I do to change that? So giving them more time off, giving them more benefits, giving them higher pay, things like that are going to affect them, not just long-term, but day-to-day. They're going to be happier seeing their check come through.
The quality of life goes up.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it's not much, it's something.
It's a small byproduct.
Yeah, and to grow that, it's not just me, it's them. It's on them to help me grow this organization. And if they buy into that, we're going to continue to grow to the point where every year we're getting dollar raises. And with Resource York, my goal is to give them $1 raise next year, which we did this year, and $2 raise next year, and get them to a livable wage. But it's not just me. It's not just me honing in our costs and our overhead. It's also growing our revenue, which I'm not out on the floor. They are. So there's so many pieces, and it's such a delicate thing to get them to buy into that, especially when it comes to low-income jobs that, like, we don't pay anything, but we want you to work really hard. No, it's hard to get that buy-in, but if you can communicate in a certain way, maybe you can, if you can show a short-term benefit. And for me, we've worked out some short-term benefits, and if next year I can say everyone's getting $1 raise, that's huge. That's huge for a small organization. Yeah. And that's the buy-in that we get for the next year. And we just continue growing and growing, and I'm really excited to see where we move with Resource.
Cool. What else are you excited about? I mean, it doesn't have to be professionally. Everything. This whole city.
York's
cool.
Yeah, York's cool.
So my lead dev and advertiser, he lives in Arizona. He grew up in Louisiana. Does a lot of projects with York businesses. Mm-hmm. Shreveport. It's a very interesting town.
Yeah. No, I watched True Blood, so I know a lot about Shreveport.
Okay. I did not know that was a setting there.
They talk about it.
The Bayou. But I tell him stories, and he knows about clients that we work with. He's like, York sounds cool. And it is.
It's getting there. I mean, we have a lot to do. My biggest focus is artists, because you look at Lancaster, graphic design is amazing for the businesses, this, that, the other. You look at Harrisburg, also very close to us. They have a huge mural scene. And for me, I want the best of both of those, which, like, Lancaster, I don't think has a ton of murals, but
I've only seen one or two in passing.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, I love art. I love color. I love difference, and I love seeing all of that. And for me, I've now I think it's 4 mural projects I've facilitated, but shout out people who've given me money. Also give me more money, please.
Hashtag.
Finger crossing. Artwork is so important to every community, whether you realize it or not. And I will make that evident through Resource York, through my own work, through every single community in York County, because you look at, for me, I walk past the AAA building every day, 4 times a day, and I'm so angry how dirty and gross it is. If there's a mural in there, I'd be walking past that every day, happy and potentially sharing my happiness with others about how much I like it. So what can other murals do for our city? And so my biggest thing is pushing towards facilitating murals. I am no artist whatsoever. I care about artists because it's hard for them to find
outlets,
especially
mediums, essentially, especially in that regard.
Yeah, and especially during COVID, it's hard finding work for artists. And when I think about the artwork that I've seen come from York College and York High, and to think that they're maybe going to Philadelphia or Baltimore or New York because those are places where they can get paying jobs, that's a shame. We should keep our talent here as much as we can. And I'm going to do everything I can to keep that talent here. I just talked with Rapid Transit yesterday about their bus hubs, those places where people get
That'd be
picked
really
up.
cool.
Yeah, there should be artwork on every single one of those, portraying things that are positive for York. Every empty side of a building should be filled with a mural. I mean, my job is to teach artists how to do what they don't like to do. With the first mural that I did, I taught J-Rock, God bless J-Rock, did the White Rose mural at Queen and College.
He's great. I haven't met him personally, but he's very talented.
Yeah, no, we did the Queen and College mural last May. God bless Megan Given, who helped us through Give Local. We did it that day, and the goal was that he got work from that because I couldn't pay to do anything like that. But he got work from that, and we got to show the community that we cared about York, and we got to do it on a building that was going to get torn down, and this and that, all the other stuff. There's so many opportunities for artists, and I want Resource York to be at the forefront. I want Resource York to be the stalwart of... The stalwart. Oh, I hope that's right. For artists to come to say, I want to do something. How can you help me? I'm going to say, I have the resources. I have the things that you need to make it cheap, because a year ago, just one and a half years ago, renting a boom lift for $364. I said, oh my God, how am I going to do that? That's not even paint. That's not time, because the time the artist donated, all of that stuff costs so much. And I said, how am I even going to do anything like that? And I put my own finances in and made it work. But the projects, as they grow bigger and as they grow less temporary, like the Yorktown, the White Rose project is temporary. The building's going to get knocked down. So we don't need a long-term contract on what's going to happen after this amount of time or that amount of time. More money comes into it. And it's like, well, how are regular people in this city going to deal with that? There's no answer right now. But if I can be an answer to that,
at least move that needle.
Yeah, no, I will move that needle as much as I can. If we can, I want to get a boom lift donated to Resource York.
That'd be awesome.
To donate it out a day instead of $364, $50, because it was a donation. We need to cover our liabilities, but
other than that,
I want to make sure that art is created in York City. And I'm going to do everything that I can within work or outside of work to make that happen. And whatever I can do within Resource York that my board is approving of will be what I do for these next 87 years, and I'm with Resource York.
87 years.
87 years.
Maybe, I mean, that's a long time.
No.
Maybe they'll come up with cryogenics in our lifetime if our livers don't fail. I'm probably only got to 40.
I'm on my second.
Oh.
That's not funny.
Really?
It's not funny. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say,
And I oop. Ooh, that was throwback.
So you got a great sense of humor. I'm pretty sure the first time I ever met you was at Mudhook.
Probably.
And I found out from Ryan Bath after the fact. I'm like, hey, you know what? Because he worked there at the time. He's like, I just ate at Mudhook for the first time. And like, met Corey. He was really cool. He said it was his birthday. And Ryan's like, oh, it's not his birthday. He just trolls new customers that way and says that.
Yes. Also, though, I think Ryan Bath should have a podcast called Bath After the Fact. I mean, honestly, it just rolls off the tongue.
We could produce it here. I might produce it. And then just rather than a bar, we just have a bathtub. You remember that skit from like All That where it has Kenan Thompson in the bathtub?
The French guy.
But it's just Ryan Bath and that out gear.
Also, I did go to a Hilton. What's the Hilton that's going to be at the Yorktown? The same Hilton chain. That Hilton in D.C., they had a speakeasy bar in the basement that they served their gin drink in a bathtub. So, I mean, include that, obviously. You want to serve your gin in a bathtub, of course. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Keep in mind a ceramic bathtub drinking orifice.
Bath After the Fact, cultural tidbits.
Bath After the Fact.
Produced by Corey Wolfe and Paul Schiffbauer.
Yeah.
at
Whatever.
Story Studios. It's coming. I'm going to have a little bit more of this Inverse House Green Plaid, very rare Scotch whiskey. I'm going to send you an invoice and then a formal sponsorship inquiry for season 3. And hopefully we get 100 bottles of this. We might drink it, we might not. But hey.
No, I think my face is enough show how much I love the liqueur.
It won't
that's
go
French
bad.
for liquor.
I will drink it.
Yeah.
I may use a mixer, but I will drink it after the fact.
So we got 10 minutes. What do we talk about?
Oh, yeah.
The York Fair. Canceled.
What the fuck's up with that?
Bill Cosby. Canceled. I can't think of anything else.
Anything canceled.
Canceled.
Having fun's kind of canceled. It's at 25, 50% capacity.
As long as you're buying a meal and you are sitting down. Not canceled.
Yeah.
And before 10 p.m.
Yeah, otherwise, it just lurks out.
Here's my shout out to my biggest goal is to meet with my Uncle Tom. My last name is Wolfe, but I have an E at the end.
Okay.
But if I drop the E,
You could
my biggest
say-
goal, my Uncle Tommy, I would love to meet with Tom Wolfe and just learn. He was affiliated with the United Way of York County in
Did
the
not know
past.
that. I know he's a York cat.
He is a York cat. He did a lot of stuff in York. It is possible for anyone in York. We look at our president of the United States. How many of them have just been related to one another? But there's so many people in the United States. So anyone is great for that role. And just because someone was related to someone who was president once just makes them better apt for it, makes it unfortunate.
It's just some subconscious thing, I feel like.
Yeah, but I mean, it's name recognition. But overall, like, we have great people in this country all over. And I mean, just because Uncle Tom has my last name, except without the E, he drops it because obviously he's ashamed. I mean, I want to know where he's come from and the things that he's done, his time with United Way, working as a volunteer, his time as a business person. I mean, if you look at his history, he had a hard upbringing with being thrust into that position young, unless I'm mixing that up with Leah Pell, which I think was a similar
We'll have to do a fat
situation.
check.
If it's wrong, I don't care.
In
because
post-production, but
we're drinking right now, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's just margin for error on every podcast. Endorsements of my guests do not reflect that of Schiffbauer Consulting
Except
Group.
for Resource York, because
Hey.
we are a nonprofit.
They
How many
are pretty
nonprofits have
awesome.
you interviewed?
Was that?
How many nonprofits have you interviewed?
You were the first.
Oof. So,
Here we go.
Paul full on endorses this nonprofit because
Fully
we give
co-signed.
we give back to the community. And I'm pretty sure I brought a sticker at some point. Sticker. That's all you need for a donor to Resource York. You just got to give them a sticker.
Put it on the bar.
Yeah, no, I just only brought a
Sticker.
razor.
Perfect.
But also, if anyone, I mean, Corey Wolfe as a whole, we have these York stickers, which I'll give you.
It's really
one of.
cool. I'll put one on my laptop.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I like the font.
Yeah, I didn't choose it.
And where did you source that from?
Holographic.
Oh, that's cool.
Also, temporary tattoo, because
Wh-
why not?
Why not? I might use
The
that.
biggest thing in our 7 minutes to talk about is not having money and thinking that you can't do things that you want to do.
I've done a lot of things on a bootstrap budget. I don't know about you.
I mean, exactly. Like, I've wanted to do things, and all those stickers, all those things I've created, I have found, you find deals. You got to look for deals. You got to do this. You got to do that. But at the same time,
By the way, close up.
yeah, the people that you meet can just connect you to someone to make something cheaper. And it's all about meeting with other people and meeting their connections and the people they suggest to meet with and all of these ripples that will make your ideas happen. For me, I mean, one day I want to do so much, and I know you want to do so much, and all of this stuff, it won't come from just your hard work. Unfortunately,
absolutely
it will
not.
come from your connections. And as shitty as that is, just meet people. Meeting people is not hard. Getting
No.
people to meet with you is not hard. You just got to keep trying at it.
And if it's a little uncomfortable, you got to make yourself a little uncomfortable. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
I mean, meet with a person that was uncomfortable with the first time, a second time, and you do a better job. But the way you're going to make things happen when you don't have the money is meeting with people who do have the money, who buy into your ideas. And I'm not even there yet, but I've seen the opportunity with connecting people from one thing to another. And it's going to happen if you really want something. If I want to make a sticker that says York on it, and I can't afford it myself, there is someone else in this community
who's going to
who
want
will
to do
give me
it.
$25 to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's not much. And it's accepting that money. It's looking for that money. It's all of that will help you get through to just putting an idea off your brain and working on another one, because it's hard thinking of 100 things at the same time.
Yeah, and I tell people, I mean, marketing has your various textbook definitions, but to me, at its core, marketing is about community. It's connecting those to your respective community. And it could be physically in New York, or it could be your customer base.
Yeah.
Or it could be someone in Indochina, that
Yeah.
have a in particular interest in what you do.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it can go any different way, but never think anything's impossible, because nothing is impossible. It's just a lot of sweat equity to make it work. And I this term sweat equity and the term sweat is gross. Sweat is gross.
equity.
But put in a lot of work. You'll get it done. I mean, honestly, I can say to everyone who I hope is watching this, and I hope to share this to as many people who don't watch this program regularly,
I appreciate
who
it.
will watch it in the future, who will gain this following, to see all the entrepreneurs and small business owners that you take in and interview, that no matter what financial space you're at, if you work really hard, you will get whatever you want. Yes, it is a lot about meeting people, but
Persistence is an uncontrollable variable majority of the time.
yeah, I mean, I can tell everyone from me, and I've multiple times shared my I've shared my cell phone number, I've shared my email address to people on the internet.
Yeah, I'm like a whore in that regard.
Whomever. And it's, if you want to do something, contact me, because I will at least connect you to that person. If I cannot do that, I will connect you to the person who can connect you to the person.
Yeah, legitimately
But,
think about it.
yeah, it's just take advantage of every opportunity you have. And if you don't, that's the reason you're unsuccessful. If you're scared, I'm sorry you're scared. I'm a scared person too.
Take a dip in the deep water.
Yeah, take a chance. You have to take a chance at some point, and know that me saying that I'm scared every single day of my life, just know that you're going to be a scared person right next to another scared person, which is great, because scared people are the best, because they really hone in on their ideas and they really figure out what is best for the community. I mean, I'm so scared that I make sure every idea I have has 3 prongs. So when someone says, well, I'm not going to make money, well, you have this benefit and this benefit too. So just don't be so scared. Make sure you reach out, because you won't get anywhere if you don't at least share it with one person who can share it with another.
Which is feverish in that regard. And kind of wrap things up, in the words of Philadelphia laureate Meek Mill, scared money don't make no money. Corey Wolfe, Executive Director at Resource York. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. My stepdad has the same quote.
Really?
Goes to casino a lot.
He's right.